Yeah. So meticulous
Rễ dẫn lên ruộng, rễ đâu nữa, rễ rắn lên ruộng.
That's so Tracy.
Video.
You may be seated. At this time, I'd like to ask you to turn off your phones or put them on airplane mode. And I would also like to ask the people who will be reading the scripture, go ahead and go to my left and begin reading.
Proverbs chapter 31, verses 10 through 31. The virtuous wife. Who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far greater than rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her, so he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and willingly works with her hands. She is like the merchant ships. She brings food from afar. She also rises while it is yet night, provides food for a household.
Please
and a
up a
portion
little bit.
for
I
her.
made the video.
She considers a field and buys it, and from her profits she plants a vineyard. She girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms. She perceives that her merchandise is good, and her lamp does not go out by night. She stretches out her hands to the distant, and her hand holds a spindle. She extends her hand to the poor. Yes, she reaches out her hand to the needy. She's not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household is clothed with scarlet. She makes tapestry for herself, and her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates, but he sits among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies sashes for the merchants. Strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness. She watches over the ways of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many daughters have done well, but you excel them all. Charm is deceitful, and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruits of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates.
John 15:12 through 17. This is the commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. You are my friends, if you do whatever I command you. No longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing, but I have called you friends. For all things that I heard from my Father, I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he may give you. These things I command you, that you love one another. 1 John 3:16 through 23. By this we know love, because he laid down his life for us. And we also ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. For whoever has this world's goods and sees his brother in need and shuts his heart from him, how does the love of God abide in him? My little children, let us not love in word or in tongue, but in deed and in truth. And by this we know that we are of truth, and shall assure our hearts before him. For if our heart condemns us, God is greater than our heart, and knows all things. Beloved, if our heart does not condemn us, we have confidence toward God, and whatever we ask, we receive from him, because we keep his commandments and do those things that are pleasing in his sight. And this is his commandment, that we should believe on the name of his Son, Jesus Christ, and love one another as he gave us commandment.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We have come together in the presence of God to witness and bless the joining of this man and this woman on their wedding day. The bond and covenant of marriage was established by God in creation, in which a man shall leave his mother and father and become one with his wife. And Jesus also performed his first miracle at the wedding in Cana of Galilee. He reveals to us the union between Christ and his church, and Scripture commends it to be honored among all people. Ephesians 5:22 through 28 tells wives to submit to their husbands, as the church submits to Christ, and for husbands to love their wives as Christ loves the church. God uses the marriage relationship between a husband and a wife to symbolize the relationship he has with us. As people look at your marriage, they should also see the love God has for them. Your marriage should direct people towards Christ. Therefore, marriage is not to be entered into unadvisedly or lightly, but reverently, deliberately, and in accordance with the purposes for which it was instituted by God. 1 Corinthians 13 shares, love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud. It is not rude, and it does not demand its own way. It is not irritable and keeps no record of being wrong. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. This is what love should look like in your marriage. Your job, Aaron, is to honor and love this woman. Your job, Tracy, is to honor and love this man. As you show love to one another, you will demonstrate to everyone around you the love Christ has for them. Tracy, will you have this man to be your husband, to live together with him in the covenant of marriage? Will you love him, comfort him, honor and keep him in sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, be faithful unto him as long as you both shall live? Aaron, she said I do. I heard it. Aaron, will you have this woman to be your wife, to live together with her in the covenant of marriage? Will you love her, comfort her, honor and keep her in sickness and in health, forsaking all others, be faithful unto her as long as you both shall live?
Absolutely, I do.
All right. Aaron, if you could please repeat after me. In the name of God,
In the name of God,
I, Aaron, take